Injury-wise, we haven't practiced yet, but, Alaric will do some stuff with our guys, and he'll be questionable for the game. Benny Sco will be limited, as well as Higbee. Both those guys will be listed as questionable. And then that's where we're at. I'll find out. I'll have a little bit. It'll probably come all the way down to game time decision. There's a possibility. We're working through a couple different things, and if that's the case, you'll find out when we kick off. There's a good chance of that. Yeah. Well, it's not exclusive to just this year, Sarah. It's who he's been, and I've been fortunate to be around Tyler for 7 years now. And so he is a glue guy for this team. Really cool to see him, honored as a captain, voted on by his teammates this year. He epitomizes a lot of the things that we're looking for in Rams. Mentally and physically tough, loves to compete. He's got versatility. We ask a lot of our tight ends. He sets the example every single day. I love Tyler Higbee, really happy for him, and that's a good thing for us.
What makes him such a good fit in your offense?
Well, I think it's always about the people, and he's a special person that knows how to go about the work the right way. He's got a skill set, a size, an ability to be able to play all over the formation. He's a very smart football player as well. I mean, when you think about it, and I got a real appreciation when I first started coaching, you get an opportunity to coach the tight ends, working with a guy like Chris Cooley, and the versatility that he had. Tyler kind of approaches the game similar to Chris. Even though their style is a little bit different, but both those guys have the ability to compete in line. They can play in the slot. They can play opened up from the formation. They're good in protection if you're asking them to do that. And you've seen that reflected from Tyler in all three of the games that we've played this year. That's been a consistent thing that he's shown throughout the course of his career. And then the things that you don't see when he's playing is the way that he handles himself, the way that he connects and cares about his teammates, just the way that he, models the way every single day. And I love Tyler Higbee and really happy for him and his family.
How involved do you get? I mean, not in the negotiation. I know that's him and the agent and the team, but how involved do you get in terms of, we need to extend this guy, this needs to get done?
We have great communication. I mean, that was something that, when we had gotten ahead of the curve, Tony had great dialogue with Eric Burkhart. You realize where these dialogues are. You realize that he's a guy that he's in the last year of his contract. We want to get him extended. He's a guy that, like I just said, kind of represents a lot of those things. So that's a conversation that's been ongoing. Tony and Eric had good conversations this week, and I said, hey, there you go. Let's go ahead and get that thing done. And so that was those are things that, you don't need to get too far in the weeds, especially this time of year because of where the focus is. But it is something that there's an inclusive dialogue that always exists between myself, Les, Tony, Kevin, and we're always on the same page with those things.
I was going to say, and with a team that is so young, a team in transition from where you guys had been the last few years, how important is it to have some of, a pillar guy like him in the fold for the next couple?
Very much so. I think that's always consistent with your teams. There's inevitably transitions that occur from year to year. And when you look at it, even just from playing these guys in 21 in week 2, and then you look at some of the turnover, well, there's still some consistent, really good players that they had then that they still have now. And so that's what you always want to be able to have. And I think it's been earned from Tyler, and that was something that was important to us. Mm-hmm.
Did you notice, have you noticed, especially coming into a healthy year, he's got a little that extra saltiness, wanting to go out and show that he's still capable of?
I think that's what he's always been. I think there's a motivation, and I think everybody looks internally, but he's always been motivated to play well for his teammates. I think there's a healthy edge and a chip on your shoulder, if you will, when things don't always go down the way that you want. And that could be for a variety of reasons, but he's always been supremely secure in himself, Jordan. I didn't get into the weeds in some of those conversations, but I saw a guy that was intentional about approaching the offseason the right way, that wanted to make sure he took care of his body, and I think you've seen that reflected in the way that he's played through the first 3 weeks. But he's always been a great competitor. If you said, what's the one thing that's been consistent, those things have been consistent. you know what, however he felt about that kind of stuff, he's too much of a pro to share that with me.
And you guys go into Indy 2 years ago, you were playing this team, and it was a close game. Now they have a different coaching staff. How similar, how different are they in terms of what they're doing?
Well, they're really well coached, just like they were then when Frank Reich was the head coach. I have tremendous respect for Shane Steichen and the job that he's done. You look at it, and it's really in all three phases. I thought they did a great job, especially at the end of the game, being able to handle the ebbs and flows, knowing how difficult it is to go play at a place like Baltimore. Did a great job against a Houston team that had a big win last week, and they went back and forth toe-to-toe with Jacksonville in week 1. So there is differences because there's not continuity. You got new coordinators, new schemes, but there's still some consistent things that you see, and there's still some consistent players, like I mentioned, that have done a good job. But it is a very new challenge. Every single week's a new week. You know, even going from last week and the things that you say, okay, well, let's not make some of the same mistakes, but how does it really apply? Some things absolutely, and some things maybe aren't quite as applicable. But the important thing is let's continue to take steps in the right direction, and we're excited about the challenge to go compete, and we know it's going to be a good challenge.
Brett Maher's done a good job for you guys, but
Yeah.
what's it like to watch, Matt Gay kick 5 field goals for them last week, including 4 from beyond 50?
Just outstanding. I mean, it's so exciting, Gary. What do you mean by that question, huh? I mean, I'll tell you what, Matt made a lot of those kicks for us, and so I'm grateful for that. I don't love having to play against a guy like that, but Brett has done a nice job, like you said. We were fortunate that it worked out, that we were able to get Brett. I think he's done a really nice job, especially over the last couple weeks, and I love the way that he responded even in Seattle with some things that weren't always within the framework of his control. But Matt Gay was an awesome player, a great guy. I was so happy for him and his family to be able to get the recognition that he got when he was here, and then also to be able to go earn that contract. And so, it was it's bittersweet, but you're happy for him because he meant so much to us, and I love the person. So, but the hell kind of question is that?
Get closer to potentially making a decision on when Cooper starts practicing
Yep.
next week. How much do you weigh his opinion on it? Because
100%. It's our dialogue. I trust the way that he knows how to feel. So he's practicing next week, and we're going to see how he feels. Obviously, there's opinions that really matter, but he is the one that matters the most to me because I know he knows his body. We're not going to do anything that's reckless, but I also have enough trust and confidence in our relationship, knowing how intentional he is about educating himself, using the information at his disposal. But there's an element of, there's always going to be a risk no matter what, walking out this door, getting in your car. I mean, so if he feels good enough and the situation has been in alignment with we're ready to get him, we're going to get Cooper back and ready to compete for us because he's a big part of our team, and I know he's put a lot of work in, and there's a big thing that, he weighs a lot in that. So that's the most important thing to me.
To clarify, you are going to...
Yeah, he'll start practicing next week. Yes, we will start that next week. Yep.
Every week is obviously really important in a 17-game schedule, but when you're looking down, the possibility of 2-2 or 1-3, does this feel...
Yeah, I don't get ahead of myself like that. I really look at it as let's go take care of business. Let's control the things that we can control. I think you get yourself all out of whack. Even you can worry about a lot of the makeable plays that we think we could have made last week. That doesn't matter. What matters is how we approach today, how we have our focus razor sharp for a great practice today, getting ready to make sure that we handle all of our business on Saturday, and then let's come out ready to peak and go compete to the best of our ability. But I think you start getting into that down the line, you can't do that. There's just so many things that are just unpredictable. Let's be present. Let's be in the moment. When Cooper Kupp's ready to go, we're going to get him back, and we're not going to do that in a reckless manner, but his opinion weighs heavily. I don't think about anything other than let's go have our focus and concentration on trying to accomplish a goal against a great challenge this week.
Russ Hughes is going home to Indianapolis this weekend. He has yet to leave the field for you in 3 games this year. He's played every snap. Has getting this responsibility this year been as impressive as it looks from the outside? I mean, going from almost nothing to being a key part of your defense?
Yeah, I think the coolest thing, Greg, is it's been earned. And it's been earned by an intentional approach. It's been earned by the way that he approached his rookie year and then just made the most of, whether it's winning isolations as a gunner, making big plays against the Carolina Panthers last year, or then getting an opportunity towards the latter part of the season to start playing at safety and really understand the nuances of what we're asking, the way that he approached the offseason program, how coachable he is from Aubrey and Coach Beek, and just the natural toughness and the overall athleticism that he plays with. And I love Russ Yeast. I love his demeanor. I've been really proud of him, and I know he's going to continue to just get better and better because of the way that he approaches every single day. Okay? Thanks, guys.